we're going to start with a little bit of a stiller, quiet time to just begin to gather our attention and begin the process of slowing down, which might take quite a long time, might take the whole class, depending on what's going on for you this morning. So you can do that in any position that you feel able to begin to settle in. So that might be resting on your back, maybe with your knees bent if that feels good for your back, maybe with some support underneath your head. But it could also be sitting if that feels preferable, or any other position that you can find that feels good for you. So in that process of choosing where to begin, we're extending ourselves an invitation right from the start to kind of feel inside and to choose what's best for us moment to moment. And that continues throughout the practice. So keep kind of checking inside and noticing how each thing that we're doing feels for you today. Anything that feels really good and you want to carry on longer than I'm suggesting, you're always really welcome to do that. Just join us when you're ready. And anything that doesn't feel right for you today, you don't need to do it. You don't need to kind of push through anything. So you've always got the choice to rest, to pause, to find something else nearby that might feel good for you. So taking some time now to begin to become aware of the sounds that are around you here. It might be sounds inside the room. It might be sounds outside the room, further away. And depending on where you are, there might be space in between the sounds. And we're going to practice just now, seeing if we can find a way of being with the sounds that allows them to come and go. We don't need to hold on to any of them. We don't need to push any of them away. The sounds just are as they are. And you might find that there's other things that ask for your attention at the same time. So you might notice thoughts, body sensations. That's really normal. We don't need to put any effort into pushing any of that away. But we have established an anchor for ourselves in sounds that we can keep coming back to. So the practice is in returning again and again. So noticing if our attention might have wandered off and coming back to the sounds that surround us. And then we'll invite that same kind of gentle and rested attention in towards our physical experience. So allowing yourself to become aware of the fact that you're breathing. And there's no need to breathe in any particular way. Just allow the breath to enter and allow the breath to leave. No effort required. And let yourself be gently interested in the breath as it is right now. It might be big, it might be small, it might be fast or slow. It might feel easy or it might feel a little bit stickier or more held. And however it is welcome. And then let's take a few rounds of breath together in a way that can just help to signal to the body and to the nervous system that they are really supported here. So we can rest our hands, if it's comfortable to do today, around your lower belly, or you might just take your attention there if you prefer. And then let your mouth open gently. So there's a little bit of space in between the back teeth, the jaw is really soft, the lips can be soft. And if it's okay to breathe through the nose this morning, then you could take a breath in through the nose and let the breath just sigh out gently through the mouth. As if you could breathe into your hands on the belly. And letting go as you breathe out. Once or twice more if that feels useful to you today. And then when you're ready to, if it's okay to breathe through the nose today, then you can let the mouth close again gently. So the breath comes in and out gently through the nose. And breathing through the nose, if that's available, can help to slow the breath down naturally without using any force. And that supports us in relaxation. So if it feels okay and comfortable to breathe that way, then I invite you to do that. If you need to breathe through the mouth at any stage, if it feels like a couple of sighing out breaths like we've just practiced might be useful, or if just breathing through the nose isn't right for you today, you don't need to do that. So let yourself be guided by how things are feeling inside. And then we'll come into some movement from here. So if you're resting on your back, then let yourself find your way slowly up to a seated position. And however you're sitting, whether that's kneeling, legs crossed, legs extended, whatever's going to feel comfortable for you today, it's probably helpful to be sitting up on something. So maybe a cushion, a brick, a block, whatever you've got around. Just noticing if you do use a little bit of extra support, how that might change things around the lower back. Great. And as you find a position that's going to suit you, give yourself a little shuffle side to side, just getting a sense of your contact with the ground here. And then if it's comfortable to bring the hands into contact with the body, one to the heart and one to the belly, you can imagine that there's another hand resting on the crown of your head, and you might lengthen up gently into that hand. Great. And then let the shoulders rest down, let the hands rest down, let the face be soft. And staying with this sense of a nice, tall, steady spine, we'll come into some movement for the shoulders. So we'll start with just rolling the shoulders up towards the ears, taking them back and down. Great. And if this is a movement that's familiar to you, you might kind of refine it a little bit by imagining that the shoulder blades themselves are drawing up, pulling apart, sliding down, and then coming back in towards each other. So I'm sort of showing a little bit with my hands what I'm imagining the shoulders are doing, shoulder blades are doing. It can be just a slightly different feeling from the inside, I think, when you take some awareness to the backs of the shoulder blades, and then see if you can reverse that. And because we're moving in the less intuitive direction for you now, that might feel a little bit less simple, and that's okay. Great. And then let the shoulders rest. We'll rest the fingertips lightly on the shoulders and come into some circles for the elbows. And seeing if you can stay nice and tall as you do this. So if you notice that your kind of chest is lifting, see if you can find a bit of stability. So the movement's focused a little bit more in the shoulders than the back. Great. And then how does it feel to circle in the opposite direction? Great. And then letting that rest. And we'll take the right hand and circle it up and back. You can bend the elbow as much as you need to keep that feeling okay around the shoulder. So we don't want the shoulder to feel too pulled. Nice. And then let's swap and take the left hand up. Again, soft bend to the elbow if that's useful. Great. And then this is a little bit of a brain teaser for your body, but we're going to keep circling this left hand back and then see if you can circle the right hand forwards. So I'm not sure after the night I had how easy that's going to feel. Great. And then can you change directions? So circling the left hand forwards and the right hand back. Great. So we're really asking our brain to sort of make some new connections as we do that. Great, and then let that rest. Just notice how things are feeling across the front of your chest and your shoulders. And then if you've been sitting with your legs crossed, let's change the cross of the legs so you bring a little bit of balance into the body. If you're kneeling and you're comfortable as you are, then just stay as you are because you're already fairly symmetrical. And then we'll let the chin drop down towards the chest so we can feel into the neck for a moment. Consciously soften the jaw. Allow the face to be soft. And then when you're ready, we're going to keep the head heavy, but roll the left ear gently towards the left shoulder. And as you do that, just notice if your shoulder's coming up to meet the ear. See if you can let it relax. Breathe into the right-hand side of the neck. And then in your own time, rolling the chin forward so your head is heavy again, and then over towards the other side. Again, relax the shoulders down. And then take some time to roll from side to side, allowing that movement to be as big or as small as feels good in your body right now. Back towards center, breathing the face back up. And then we'll bring some awareness down to the center of the body and see if you can begin to find some circles from there. So depending on the position that you're sitting in and how things are feeling in your hips and your lower back, this movement might be quite small or it might be a little bit bigger. It might change size as you explore it. And then changing the direction of the circles. Aware of your shifting weight and changing sensations. Great. Coming back to find center in your own time. So you're nice and tall. And then let's take just a few breaths to connect with the breath. So taking the hands and as you breathe in, reaching all the way out and all the way up. As you breathe out, hands coming down towards the heart. Expanding as you breathe in. And gathering back to center as you breathe out. We all breathe at a different pace, so let yourself be guided by your own breath here. And the next time that you breathe in, let's pause there at the top of the in-breath. We'll keep reaching towards the sky and keep breathing. And then just imagining that you're reaching up to something on a high shelf, reaching with one hand and then the other, and feeling the side body beginning to open gently. Great. The next time that you reach up with the left hand, let's bring the right hand towards the ground, fingertips to the earth. Creep the fingers away and softly bend the elbow so that you can come into a side bend and pause for a moment. And then you might like to explore here, just rolling that top shoulder slightly forwards and then drawing it slightly back. So you're kind of spreading that opening through the side body and into the lower back a little bit. But move with respect for how things are in your lower back today. And then coming back up to center. Right fingertips, left fingertips to the ground. Soft bend to the elbow. And then breathing into the right hand side and deciding whether today a little bit of rolling and opening might feel good or if you'd like to keep it a little stiller. Coming back towards center. Have a little roll through the shoulders one more time. Have a shake out through the hands, all the way down from the shoulders to the fingertips. Lovely. And then one final thing while we're seated, let's take the hands out and then turn the palms behind us. Take your hands back and interlace the fingers. And then reach the arms until they can get as long as they can. And take a breath or two there. And then we're going to do one more little brain teaser for your body. We're going to change the interlace of the fingers. So the other index finger is going to shuffle down. So take from where you are, which is your most natural interlace, and then move one finger along. It's particularly difficult to do if you can't see your hands. Well done, great. And just one more breath there. And then release, have a little shake out again. And then let's come through into a tabletop position from here. So find your way into a nice supported tabletop, wherever your hands and knees need to be to feel the most support for the center of your body. Maybe have a little shift left and right, forwards and back, just exploring your kind of support through your arms and your legs. And then once you've found that you're feeling fairly supported, take a breath in. And with your out breath, press into the ground, slowly round through the spine. Let your head drop. And take a breath or two here in cat stretch, opening the back of the body to the sky. Maybe let your head be heavy and dangle. And then slowly arching through the spine, so the heart moves forward, the face floats up. The back of the neck is still long. We don't want to make that too short. And then working your way from the arch to the round in your own time. It might connect with your breath, but there's no right or wrong about that. Always trying to move in a way that allows us to breathe as freely as possible. So that's our priority. Great, and then coming back towards center, let's take the hands a little bit further forwards and explore that same movement, but introducing a little bit more work and engagement for the arms and the shoulders as we do it. So we're going to round the spine into cat stretch with a heavy head. Bring the hips back as if you're moving towards child's pose. And then bend your elbows, rest the elbows on the earth and draw your heart forwards as you come into a gentle arch, and then push into your hands to come up. So rounding back and then gently arching as you come forwards. Great. We're going to work through that a few more times. You can stay with it as it is. But if you'd like to feel a bit more work for the arms, you can just hover the elbows rather than bringing them all the way to the ground. That will ask for a little bit more strength, particularly in the backs of the arms as you push up. Great. And then the next time you come back, let's settle back in child's pose and find somewhere to rest. Explore with your arms and your hands where they need to be to feel as settled as you can. And taking some attention to the breath in the back of the body. Great. And then when you feel ready to, we'll come back up, find our way to a tabletop position again. But if you know that resting is a real priority for you today, you might choose to stay in child's pose or another place that feels restful. So do what feels right for you. We're going to do a little movement which is, it's quite subtle. So bear with it, and it involves, again, kind of visualizing the shoulder blades a little bit. So when you are in your tabletop position, the shoulder blades are kind of spread apart, they're quite broad. We're going to keep the arms nice and long and straight, but allow the shoulder blades to drop towards each other a little bit. So as you do that, you'll feel your heart kind of drop towards the earth. It's not that we're arching our backs, just that we're dropping the heart down. The shoulders might feel like they're sort of hunching a little bit, sliding towards each other a little bit. And then we'll reverse that. So imagine the shoulder blades broadening as you press into the ground, arms are long, the upper back is nice and broad. So there's a little bit of a kind of a collapsy feeling perhaps around the shoulders as the shoulder blades drop in towards each other, and then a broadening and a strengthening as you open back up. Great. And for a lot of us, the muscles around the shoulder blades can be really sticky. So this movement might, it might feel like there's nothing happening at all. That's quite normal. Just keep imagining it, even if you're not feeling much. Great. And then the next time that you press into your hands, the arms are long and the shoulder blades are broad, we're going to hold on to that feeling, the broad upper back, supported shoulders, as we come into the next movement. So we're going to stay here in our tabletop, but we're going to take the right leg and take it out towards the side. So for some of us, this might be quite challenging for the balance. If that's the case, you might want to just stay with this as it is, as a kind of steady pose, and just explore finding your balance here. The other option, if you feel like there's enough stability today, is to take the right hand towards the heart and then turn the heart gently towards the right and reach up to find the sky. We'll take a breath here, and then as you breathe out, turning back to center and touching the earth. So breathing in to open, rotating, and breathing out to find the ground again. Great. One more time. Finding the ground. Both knees back. Give yourself a little wriggle and a shake through anything that needs to move. And then we'll take that on the other side. So the fingers of the right hand are nice and spread. The left foot comes out towards the side this time. Left hand towards your heart maybe, or maybe exploring stability in this position. And then turning the heart, opening up towards the sky. Keep pressing into your bottom hand so you've got space for that shoulder. It's nice and open and supported. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, turn back to center and touch the earth. Great. So breathing in to open up. And breathing out, back to center, finding the earth. Lovely. Couple more times with your own breath. Great. And then let's find all fours and back towards child's pose. And maybe resting the elbows on the earth and lifting the hands away so that you can have a little circle through the wrists, wriggling the fingers. And then while you're here, just for a moment, let your hands rest in contact with your head and give yourself a little bit of gentle, soothing contact for the head and for the scalp. Just noticing how the breath might respond to that kind of gentle touch. And then let yourself decide here if resting is a priority for you today. You might choose to stay here in child's pose, maybe staying with this gentle contact of the hands to the head. Or you might like to begin to move a little bit more with the breath again. So if you'd like to keep moving, you could take your arms forwards. As you breathe in, come up towards all fours. And as you breathe out, drifting back towards child's pose. Maybe staying with that, or maybe threading downward facing dog into the flow as well. So you would breathe in to all fours and then tuck the toes and out to find downward facing dog. Into a tabletop position and out towards child's pose. Knowing that however you're moving, you've got the choice to spend a little bit longer in any one place. If you'd like to pause and explore through downward facing dog or a tabletop, you can do that. And when you feel kind of ready to move on, we'll slowly make our way to meet in a standing position. There's no rush to get there. So you might come through a forward bend for a moment if you've been working through downward facing dog. If you find that, let your knees be soft so the back of the body isn't strained. And then roll your way up in your own time. Head heavy. Have a little shake out through the arms, through the legs. We've lost my head a little bit. So finding your standing position, bring your feet a comfortable distance apart so you feel supported by your legs. And then let's come through a couple of rolls through the spine. So allowing the head to drop forward, the head is heavy, and then following the weight of the head, imagining each bone of the spine in turn, gently rolling forward. So the arms are nice and heavy and long and floppy. As you go, notice if there's a place where the knees might need to soften to keep you moving smoothly down. Pause when you meet resistance and breathe there. There's no need to push or to strain. You might find that a little bit of gentle movement, easing side to side or padding the heels feels good. And really in your own time, you can work your way back out if you've already been in a forward bend for a while. But there's no rush, so if you're doing this really slowly, that's really wonderful. Just follow your own rhythm. As you find your way back to standing, let yourself shake and move anything that needs to wriggle and jiggle. Free the arms, lovely. Great. And then let's come into some standing poses from here. So we're going to start with our feet about hip distance apart. We're going to find chair pose. If it's useful having some extra support when you're standing, then turn so that you're facing your chair or your mantelpiece or your wall. And bring your attention down towards your feet and spread your toes out. Imagine that you could spread them like fingers and then press them down towards the earth. We're going to softly bend the knees and bring the hips back in space. So the weight's in the heels, the spine is long. And then decide whether you'd like to rest your hands in contact with your legs or some support. Or you might bring your hands towards your heart or reach up towards, so the arms are moving kind of in line with the ears. But just choosing what suits your lower back and your belly. Great. Take one more deep breath here. And then coming to stand when you're ready. And we'll step back from here with the right leg. So we're going to step back about a leg's distance. We're finding our way towards our warrior two pose. We're going to turn the back toes out at a little bit of an angle so that the heel can find the earth. The front knee can bend, and just bending and straightening a few times through that leg so you can feel the strength of that leg beginning to kick in. Great. And then let's pause with the knee more or less over that ankle. Hands towards your heart. Get nice and tall as you breathe in. And then let's turn the heart gently towards the right, seeing if we can leave the knee where it was. It doesn't need to come with us. And then reach out through the arms. Great. And then as ever, you've got lots of options here, so choose what feels best for you. You might explore this pose fairly steady, or you might like to move a little bit with the breath. So see how it feels to lengthen the front leg and maybe lift the arms. And then with your out breath, bend the front knee and bring the arms back down. Right, let's take one more breath, however you are moving. Let's pause, take a deep breath, warrior two. And then let the hands come down. We'll turn the feet so that we're facing towards the right-hand side of the mat. Let's even up our heels so that they're in line with each other, and then turn the toes out a little bit so that they're a bit of an angle, so that when you bend your knees, the knees are still pointing in the same direction as the toes. Great, and you can take a look down and play around with your feet and your legs, however you need to make that true in your body. Great, and then bring your weight towards your heels and the hips back a little bit so that the knees bend. And then again, you might choose to explore this pose quite still and steady. You might like to stay here or bring your hands to your heart, or it might be good to bring some movement in. So if you'd like to move, then as you breathe in, press into your feet, sweep the arms up. As you breathe out, bend the elbows, bend the knees, coming back down. Breathing in to expand, and out to come back down. Great. Last breath here. And then as you come down, we're going to pause for a few rounds of breath. If you find that this becomes a bit too strong for the legs, you're always welcome to come back just to a simple standing position. And we're going to bend our elbows and bring the palms forward. So as if you were holding kind of a heavy tray. So let the palms come down to elbow height, the elbows hug in towards your waist. And then keeping the elbows close to your waist, see if you can begin to open your hands away from each other, with the forearms still parallel with the floor. You might not move very far, that's okay. Notice if your hands might be kind of trying to do a little bit what we're asking the arms to do, and let the wrists stay straight. Take one more breath. And then coming up to stand, finding your way back to a standing position, and give yourself a really nice big wriggle and a jiggle, because you're asking your legs to work quite hard. And then let's say thank you to our legs a little bit. So make some little gentle fists and just pat down through those big muscles of your legs, the thighs, the hamstrings, the buttocks, maybe all the way down into the lower legs if that's accessible. And then back up. Great. So we're going to do a couple of poses to balance out on the other side. So we're going to step back with, stepping back right last time, so we'll step back with the left foot this time. Toes at a little bit of an angle, so we're finding our way towards warrior two again. Front knee forwards and bending and straightening that front leg to connect with some strength in that leg. Great, we want the knee pointing more or less in the same direction as the toes, so that leg is set up to be as strong as it can be. And then hands towards your heart. Getting nice and tall as you breathe in. Strong in the back leg and turning the heart as you breathe out. Lovely. Expanding out through the arms. And then choosing whether you'd like to be strong and steady and still here, or if some movement might feel good. So bringing movement in, we'd lengthen the leg and lift the arms, bending the knees as you breathe out. Just the front knee. Breathing in and out. Great, let's take one more breath. And pause here in Warrior Two. Take a deep breath in. And then let the hands come down if they've been raised. Squirreling the feet back in towards each other. Have a little shake out through anything that needs to shake. Maybe some gentle twists from side to side, soft knees. Lovely. And then coming back towards stillness, towards center. Let's take a moment just exploring our balance in a standing position. So you could bring your feet to wherever they need to be for you to feel most supported. And then bringing your hands into contact with your body. If it feels available for your balance, you can let your eyes closed because that will really change your sense of balance here, but it's harder to balance with your eyes closed. So perhaps keeping them open and the gaze just soft in one spot. And bringing your attention down towards your feet. Just notice which foot's holding the most weight right now. And what that means higher up in your body. So how are things in your legs, your hips, your lower back? And with that awareness of how the balance of our weight side to side is going to affect things higher up in the body, just explore shifting your weight ever so slightly from side to side. Noticing all the little shifts and changes that take place throughout the body as you do that. So the body is working as a whole to respond to that shifting weight to support you. And see if you can come to rest somewhere that's a little bit more balanced than the place that you began. So the weight is more evenly spread through both feet. Both legs are working a little bit more evenly. Just taking a breath or two to be aware of your whole body here, standing. Great. And then we'll make our way back down towards the earth. So you might like to come through a squat if that feels okay for your knees and your hips today. If you'd like to explore that, you can take the feet a little bit wider, turn the toes out gently, bend the knees slowly. So the slower you come down, the more strength you'll be building on your way in. And you might pause, supporting your forearms on your thighs. This might be as low as you go today. It really builds strength. But if it's available to you, then you might bring the hands lower and come lower down. Again, see how slowly you can do that. So for some of us, it's quite easy to get into a squat, but the journey in can be a place where we build a lot of strength if we slow it down. Great. And then once you've found your way down, if it's okay for your balance, you could explore shifting your weight again side to side, but use the support of the ground. And if this isn't for you, just find your way to a seat whenever you're ready. Great. And then we'll come to a seated position. Use a bit of support underneath you if that's helpful to feel taller. And then we'll bring our arms out, turning the palms forwards and letting your elbows bend if that helps the fronts of the shoulders to stay open. So we don't want to kind of jam anything and close anything off up here. So take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, we're going to sweep our hands towards each other with the right hand traveling over the left. As you breathe in, open up. As you breathe out, traveling towards each other, left hand over right. Finding your own rhythm. The next time the right hand comes over the left, we're going to pause there. Let your hands move as far as they can. So we're trying to make contact between the upper arm bones, if that's possible. And then you can decide here whether you might like to take hold of your shoulders and let your elbows rest. Or if it's available, you could work your way towards eagle pose arms. So the elbows are a little higher and maybe the backs of the hands come towards each other. Maybe you take hold of a thumb, or perhaps the palms can find each other. But there's no benefit in taking yourself as far as you possibly can if that impacts your breath. So find somewhere that you can settle and breathe. Let your shoulders move down away from your ears and let the elbows maybe float a little higher if your hands are raised. Feel how that might lengthen the neck. And then perhaps you might find a little bit of movement here useful. So you could explore bringing the elbows in towards the body. And then as you breathe in, lengthening through the spine, allowing the elbows to lift a little bit. Breathing out, rounding the upper back, dropping the head. And breathing in gently, finding your way back up. The next time that you come back up, pause here and just explore turning the head gently in one direction, back to center, and then over towards the other side. Back towards center and releasing. Just take a moment to sit tall, let the shoulders drop, and find your breath. Great. And then we'll explore that pose on the other side. And we're really different side to side in our shoulders. So you might find that you come to settle in quite a different place on this side. So that's really normal. Just be open to that possibility. So we're going to take our arms wide, take a breath in. And as you breathe out, we're going to cross our hands, this time the left hand traveling over the right. Hands traveling as far as they go so that you can make some contact between those upper arm bones. And then decide, maybe taking hold of the shoulders, maybe squirreling around to find those shoulder blades that we were thinking about before. Maybe backs of the hands find each other, maybe a thumb, maybe the palms. And however your arms are, whatever you're doing, come back to a sense of your spine at the center, spine nice and tall. And then if your hands are raised, maybe raising the elbows and drawing the shoulders down away from your ears. So the upper back is broad, the neck is long. And if movement felt good on the other side, you could try that again here. So taking a deep breath in and then breathing out to draw the elbows towards the belly, upper back rounding. Breathing in to sit tall. And the next time that you breathe in, we'll pause in an upright position and explore turning the head gently from one side back to center and then over to the other side. No rush. Great. Coming back to center. A little roll through the shoulders. And then if you are sitting with your legs crossed, we'll change the cross of the legs. If you're in a symmetrical position, just stay as you are if you're still comfortable there. And then we're going to bring the right hand towards the heart, the left hand towards the belly. We're going to finish off our movement with a twist. So let that hand on your heart just be a reminder to your chest that it can kind of soften and relax here. It doesn't need to make any effort. Let the hand on your belly be an invitation for your breath to move down towards the belly. And we're going to take that bottom hand, the hand that's on the belly, up towards the sky. Take a breath in to get nice and tall. And then as you breathe out, turn towards the right. So you're moving in the direction of the heart hand. And then from here, the hand that's in the sky can find the opposite knee or thigh. And the hand that's on your heart, it might stay with your heart if that's a comforting kind of contact to have. Or you might find that resting the fingertips on the earth helps you to feel a little bit taller in this twist. So choose what feels right for you today. And then let yourself begin to settle. Notice any tension that might gather around the hips or the lower body and invite that to soften as much as feels able. And notice the soft movement of your breath in your body. And then coming back towards center. And we'll change sides. So the left hand comes into contact with your heart. The right hand comes into contact with the belly. Just taking a moment to settle, to lengthen the spine. And then we'll take the bottom hand up towards the sky, lengthening with an in-breath. And then turning the heart gently as you breathe out. Top hand coming to rest on the knee or the thigh. And the other hand maybe staying with the heart, maybe finding its way towards the ground. Inviting the hips to release any tension they don't need to carry. Noticing where you can feel your breath in your body right now. And then back towards center. Taking a moment to sit tall and supported. Just connecting again with your breath for a moment. Notice how it is now. And then we'll make our way from here towards final relaxation. So finding any position that's going to really suit you for relaxation today. You might have some support underneath your head or your knees if you're resting on your back. You might like to rest on your side if that feels like a more calming option. And you might choose to continue sitting. If you are sitting, just make sure you're sufficiently supported that you can feel as relaxed as possible. Make sure you feel warm enough. As we relax, our body often cools down. And we're going to gently work our way around the body with our awareness, just inviting each part of the body in turn to rest into the earth. And with an awareness that sometimes that process might feel relatively easy, sometimes it might be really hard. So if some parts of the body need to keep holding on or holding themselves up right now, that's really okay. See if you can welcome that. So bringing some awareness now towards the face. Allowing the eyes to rest heavy in their sockets. The brow to soften and spread. Allow the jaw to release. And invite the whole weight of the head to rest into the earth. And bringing some awareness to the neck and the throat, to the shoulder girdle, to the mid-back, and the sides of the waist, to the lower back, the back of the pelvis. And invite the whole of the back of the body to let go into the earth. And bring some awareness towards the front of the chest, the ribs, the belly, and the lower belly. And invite the whole weight of the front part of the body to soften and drop into the support of the earth. And bring awareness to the whole length of both arms, shoulders to elbows, elbows to wrists, backs of the hands, fingers, palms of the hands. And invite the whole weight of both arms to let go into the earth. And then awareness now into the legs, from hips to knees, knees to ankles, tops of the feet, toes, soles of the feet. Invite the whole length of both legs to let go into the earth. And allow yourself to be aware now of all of these parts of your body connected as one whole, resting and breathing. And invite the entire weight of the whole body to let go into the earth. Allowing yourself to simply rest now. Perhaps using an anchor for your attention if that's helpful. You can come back to the breath, your contact with the ground, or the sounds that surround you. But you might prefer to just allow your attention to drift, making space and welcoming whatever it is that asks to move through your awareness. And then beginning to become aware again of your breath. And taking a few breaths a little bit deeper and slower, just using them to come back to your body, to a sense of your body on the ground, in the room where you're resting. And let yourself decide now if you have the time and space to continue resting, and that will be of benefit for you this morning. Then let yourself stay as you are. Let my voice move into the background a little bit. Move on gently in your own time. If you feel ready to bring this practice to a close and you'd like to finish together, then slowly introduce some movement back into the body, taking your time. When you feel ready to, if you've been resting on the ground, you could bring the knees towards the chest and then roll to rest on your side for a moment. Use your hands to support you on your journey up to a sitting position. And make sure you're as supported as you need to be to feel tall and as relaxed as possible in your seat. And give yourself a moment or two as you return to a seating position, just to get a sense of how things are inside now. Aware of any shifts or changes that you might feel from the start of class, perhaps physically around your breath, other sensations, perhaps the speed of your mind or any emotions that are present. And giving yourself the opportunity, if you can, to gently notice these shifts and changes without needing to hold on to any of them too tightly and without needing to push any of them away. Whatever you find is really welcome. And then find a gesture with your hands that helps you bring a sense of completion. They might come into contact with each other or with your body somewhere. And thank yourself for taking the time to practice this morning, making time and space for yourself. And think about taking a sense of spaciousness and support into the rest of your day and on into the week ahead.